Folks, back on the Bossman show, a friend of the show, Coach Austin Claunch, Nicholls State Colonels in Houston, Texas. They playing Houston Baptist on a game day. Joins on the Bossman show. Thank you for doing that, Coach. My brother, how you been, Coach?
What's going on, man? Things are good down here. Sounds like you guys it sounds like it's chilly up there in Atlanta, is what you just told me, man. It's nice and warm down here. We've been playing well, man. We won 4 in a row, and we have a really tough one tonight, out here in Houston against Houston Baptist. So, just trying to keep our momentum and our focus the way it's been. I think that's been a big part of why we've been able to accumulate a couple of wins here over the last couple of weeks. But you know how it is in conference play, man. Every game is tough. Every night is different. So just trying to come out here tonight and have a collective focus about us and play well, man. But things are good, man. Can't complain. Obviously it's always great, man, getting on here with you and chopping it up.
Now, Coach, I'll tell you about your team, man. How was it trying to build this thing up from this spring to when it was like you couldn't see your guys for like 4 months, get them back on the campus, keeping them healthy, and then get them in that basketball flow? How was that, man?
Yeah, we tried to be creative, man, in ways to kind of build a chemistry with this group. And at the end of the day, that chemistry comes from these guys just playing more and more. And, we have a good core that returned from last year. We had some new pieces that sat out with us last year. And then we added some brand new pieces to the program. And so, at the end of the day, man, you've been along the game. You've been around the game long enough, too, to know that, we try to do as many Zooms and all that as we could. But, at the end of the day, man, these guys got to get out here and play. Got to practice, got to play games. And so now I feel like, we've played 11 games. Usually this time of the year, you've played closer to 20 games. And, now we're starting to really, I think, click and develop that kind of chemistry and that brotherhood on the court. I think you can see it in our guys with how they communicate and how, I think we're really starting to play for each other. And so it was hard. I mean, it's hard, when you talk about kind of the restrictions that we had. We were pretty lucky early on. We didn't have a lot of shutdown. We didn't have any, positive tests. And then, of course, about a couple of weeks ago, we did get hit in the non-conference, and we were out for a couple of weeks, had some games canceled. We've been fortunate not to miss any conference games so far, knock on wood. But yeah, it's certainly been an interesting season. It's been a journey, and just, learning about our team, but learning about myself as a coach, learning about our program, and just, trying to take it day by day, man. You can't get too high. You can't get too low. At the end of the day, being able to come out and play at all is a blessing. I think COVID has taught us that, any day you get to practice is a blessing. Any day you get to come out and compete is a blessing. So, for us tonight, man, it's game 7. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we're just excited. We're just excited that we get to play tonight. So we're going to come out here and, hopefully, play 40 minutes of good Nicholls basketball.
Most definitely, man. Something got to march a little bit. For me, it was my birthday, the 11th, when everything got shut down in the NBA. I had the Hawks Knicks game, bro. So I was working and celebrating birthday.
Wow.
I had a birthday party that night, Coach. No lie. I was like, what? It getting shut down. I still have my party. I said, I'm gonna have my party.
Yo was out there spreading it, man. It might have been your fault. Who knows, man?
Yeah, I'm 33 now. So I'm 33 years old. I'm getting me a party tonight. Screw this. We're doing COVID on the 12th. So, so how was that for your guys, man? Going from this unknown March, like, wow, I can tell my guys bye like I really wanted to. They're back in their own environments. I know you have a guy on your roster from Atlanta on your roster. So I'm like, how was that, man, losing your guys for that long? And I know you're a guy who loves to be around your guys. You're a man of people, Coach. I know you are. You love people. So how's it being away from your guys, man, after that came down on us right there in March on my birthday, actually?
Yeah, no, it was brutal, and we were playing, we'd won 7 out of 8 heading into the tournament. Felt like we were playing really well. And then even when it shut down, it kind of happened so fast, and I felt so bad for those seniors. You mentioned Dexter McClanahan, who's an Atlanta guy, and he was one of those 4 seniors that I hated it for those guys, man. The work they had put in, and as much as they had sacrificed, win or loss, they deserve to go out on the court. They deserve to play it out. And, and it wasn't just us. I mean, it's everybody across the country. It felt so bad for just that group of seniors collectively. And then, it's funny. I'm not even sure we knew kind of on the way home that the season was over, but I'm not sure any of us could have even thought what it was going to become over the next 6 months into a year. Like, just not seeing those guys. It didn't really probably register with me at the time that, I'm not going to see these guys for 6 months or, whatever the case was. And so that was hard, for sure. And again, just, I really just hated it for that team, and that group at that time was playing well. But, at the same time, I think, it's, you got to learn from it. It's again, I told our seniors, man, if this is the worst thing that happens to you, you're going to live a really good life. At the end of the day, man, they had a great season, 21 wins. And, it was a bummer that it ended the way it did, but that's sometimes that's life, man. Life is going to throw you stuff that it's not going to go your way. And basketball, I think, can teach you those type of lessons, and you gotta be able to use that. You gotta be able to understand, that at the end of the day, it is just a game. Graduating is more important. Family is more important. Safety, your health and safety is more important than the game itself. And so, understanding that and just like you said, not being able to get to be around the guys in the spring and the summer, man, was brutal. But like I said, getting those guys back and being able to have a fall, I think was good for us. Not just from, a team standpoint, but also just, getting that experience back with the guys, man. Some of these guys, it flies by, man. Their time, coaching them flies by, whether it's 1 year, 4 years, it feels like it's all of a sudden you look up and you don't get to coach these guys anymore. And so, getting those guys back, getting to be around them every day, certainly been a blessing this year, even with the limited games and access and all that. It's just good to have these guys back on campus, man. And like I said, we're taking it day by day, man, and having fun with it.
Coach, it's made me a better leader because I have insurance from Spelman, Morehouse, Clark, Georgia Tech, Georgia State, and Kennesaw, all here in the Atlanta area. I cover insurance for each one of those schools. I was on insurance since March 14th. And now they have to be their leader, their father figure, their psychologist, their psychiatrist, their count. I mean, I'm having to be all these things because, Coach, I'm 33. I'm trying to be nobody leader, but I see now that, hey, my insurance looking to me because here in Atlanta, I'm like the czar for them, right? I hear you for your players. Right. So it's made me like a better leader, man. This COVID thing has made me force me how to reinvent how I lead my insurance there because, man, their parents trusting me now to make sure their kids are good here in Atlanta, even though I'm not sending them, I'm sending them virtually, but texting them, FaceTime them. So how's that been for you, man, your leadership style? Because it forced me to be better. I know it has for you as well.
Yeah, no, again, I think even more, more than learning about my team or my players, like you mentioned it, man, we're learning more about ourselves and just, how to connect and reach and continue to build relationships and continue to grow as a coach without maybe being as hands-on as you'd like to be all the time. And so, everyone's different, each family is different. There's some families that want their kids back at school ASAP. There were some families that wanted their kids home more, and it's just, this is an unforeseen global pandemic, man. Everyone is reacting differently to it. And I think as coaches, you have to be able to adapt and adjust to that. It's, again, I just mentioned it, that ultimately the safety and the well-being of our student athletes is the most important thing. And, for some guys, that's getting back in the gym. For others, they're not able to be in the gym if they're, maybe not mentally there from a, whatever standpoint. And so I just think it's about, more than anything, man, I think it's about understanding. It's about understanding. It's about communication. And everyone's different, it's, and I just think as a coach, especially this year, but even moving forward, I think I've learned just, in terms of, it might not always be whatever it is, whether it's a practice or a game or a meeting, like your team, it's not always going to be the cookie cutter vision that you had planned out, when you set out. And that's basketball. It's an imperfect game. It's like I tell our guys every day, hey, we're going to turn it over tonight. We're going to miss shots where that's going to happen, but it's about getting to the next play, and it's about adapting and finding a way to ultimately maximize, your program's success, each player's success, your coach's, whatever it is. And, I just think this pandemic has thrown different obstacles at us, and you got to embrace it. We say it all the time, embrace adversity. And I think we try to embrace adversity and find ways to be successful, regardless of what the challenges are.
And Coach, how was it for you having those Zoom calls when how the racial injustice happened all those racial things that are going on in our country. How was it for your place? Have those talks with you guys and as a staff and your team? Because I feel like for me, when I did it with my interns, it made us get closer. Hearing their experiences, hearing their backgrounds. How was it if you hearing your guys' backgrounds on those Zoom calls, knowing a little bit more about where they come from, their perspective of how they dealt with life here with all things been going on around them as young men in this world.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing about it, as basketball coaches, man, and it's especially, in our program, it was great to have these conversations because, for us, man, we've got guys from all over the country, and not just guys from different races or different ethnic backgrounds, but also geographically. Guys from Texas, guys from Georgia, guys from New York, guys from LA, guys from the Midwest, guys from Minnesota. We have a player from Minneapolis, and just to gain all those different perspectives, it was a blessing. I mean, obviously, what our country has gone through over the last 5 or 6 months, man, has been tough. And I think it's important, not just to educate, but also, to be a shoulder for somebody to lean on. One thing I think we, as coaches, that's important that I try to, and me and my staff that we try to pride ourselves on is, being there for these guys, regardless of what it is, whether it's to get on their butt a little bit more, whether it's to teach them, whether it's just to be an ear, whether it's just to be a shoulder, whether, just for these guys to be able to lean on, because, there's just so much happening, in our country. And, boss, I can, it's, as I tell our guys all the time, man, I was, I was really blessed growing up, and these guys have been through so much more things that I didn't have to experience growing up, quite frankly. And I think sometimes it's important for us, especially people in my position, instead of trying to educate, be the educated. Let these guys talk about their experience and things they're going through, because it's in this situation. You talk about racial injustice, and you talk about, it's important that I don't come off, or other people don't come off, as somebody that, thinks we know everything, because we don't. These guys have been through things as 18, 19-year-old kids that I didn't have to go through, and seen things that I haven't seen. And so, yeah, obviously as the coach, there's a lot of times where I'm teaching and I'm educating these guys on life and helping them get ready for when they graduate. But I thought, if anything, what this showed us, man, is just, there's so much we can all learn from. I think no matter how old you are or what position you are in life, at the end of the day, we're all just human beings, and we can all learn different things. We can all just learn things from each other. And, we tried to use, the things that were happening this summer as an opportunity to grow as individuals, as a program, and get closer together. And one thing about us, man, we're a really tight knit group here. And so there's no conversation that's off limits, or things that we want to talk about these things with our guys. We want to make sure mentally they're doing okay. They're feeling, we want them to feel empowered to speak on things that they want to speak on, for sure. And ultimately they know that, as whether it's a coach or player, whatever, this is a group where you're in a leadership. We're all leaders. I say it all the time, and your leadership should create leaders. And I want our guys to feel, when they leave here, and they go out and they're businessmen, or they're pros, or they're, whatever they are. I hope they learn way more than, basketball from me. I hope they feel that they can go out and they're going to make the world a better place. They're going to be better husbands, going to be better fathers. And so having conversations about, whether it's the pandemic or racial injustice, or, the presidential election, whatever it is, it's important that we have those conversations just as much as it is having conversations about ball screen defense, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. So it was definitely an interesting summer, for sure. And a challenging one, but also a chance, I think, for us to grow, not just as a team, but as men.
And Coach, I'll use the example of me. I was 7 years old if I met my first white kid on travel baseball. Living in Elizabeth, Atlanta, I wasn't around white kids. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it took baseball, showed me a different culture, a different background I hadn't been exposed to my whole life living in the city of Atlanta. So for me, sports has shown open doors for me to see all kinds of different cultures, meet different people like yourself. Because for me, we're like you say, we're all the same. We all want the same things. We're as people, and we shouldn't be judged by skin color, whether I'm black, you're white, or whoever. Because we all love a game or sport. We all come together. Because when I had on my jersey, Georgia All-Stars, coach, I didn't care if I was going to play with white kids or Mexican kids. I didn't care. I just wanted to win and travel on the weekends to other part of Georgia I haven't seen before. I didn't have to be in the hood that day. I was happy to be away from the hood. So I was using my sport myself, because for me, I'm an example of what you can be through sports and what America can be if we all have the mindset to come together and be as one.
Yeah, and that's what's so beautiful about sports, isn't it? You can get people from all over the country, different backgrounds, and come together and ultimately, create bonds that, again, I tell our guys all the time, you're going to create bonds here in this program that are going to go way beyond these 4 years or however long you're here. These are going to be guys that, I tell guys all the time, and I want to be at their wedding. I want to hear about when they have their first kid. I want to hear, these are, to me, college basketball is an avenue. It's an avenue to creating, relationships and a life, of success that is going to be more important than you pulling up and making a jumper, and so, absolutely, man. And in our program, we've tried to, it's the way we recruit, man. It's cool. You get guys from the West Coast, Southeast, Northeast. We've had international guys, and not just us. I mean, obviously that's the game now. College basketball is an international game just as much as the NBA is now, and we've had players from London, Grenada, all over. And so it really is, and I grew up, I lived internationally a lot. Of course, played AAU basketball, kind of like you mentioned, travel basketball. And so, all I've known growing up is different people, different backgrounds, different languages. And that was really a blessing for me. And I want these guys to embrace similar, ideals and understand that there's so much more in the world than, basketball. And what we do is great. Ultimately, we're working to win a conference championship. Don't get that twisted. We're going to work and we're going to try to raise a banner and go to the NCAA tournament. But if that's all we're doing as coaches, then we're ultimately not doing our job. My college coach is somebody I talk to once a week, and he's one of my best friends, and he's taught me so much more. He taught me more about being a man than he did about being a point guard. And so, ultimately all those things kind of intertwine in your life. And so, I just, we certainly here at Nicholls try to, we try to help guys understand that, hey, we're going to win basketball games, but it's about much more than that.
How was recruiting via Zoom now, Coach? I know you love people. How was recruiting via Zoom for you guys this year?
It's different. It's okay, but at the end of the day, man, we love having guys down at Thibodeau because of just the people here, our campus, our energy. The energy in South Louisiana is great, and at the end of the day, too. Man, is it? Golly, it's hard to keep weight off down here, man. I'll tell you that right now, man. But the food is too good. But it's been at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's all about people. It's about relationships.
Yes,
so whether you're doing it face to face or Zoom or on the phone, it's about trust. It's about communication. It's about honesty, and those things are going to translate. Regardless, of how you do it. But I'm ready to get these visits back and all that, man. Just because I do think a huge selling point for us is our community, our university, the people here, and I want our people, our recruits and not just our recruits, but our guys here. I want our guys to be able to go out to eat and see their professors in face to face. And because, the Thibodeau community, man, and the Nicholls State family is something really special. And so, while it's been okay, obviously doing the Zoom stuff is fine. I do think it's kind of taken away from the fact that, our biggest selling point is the people itself and being able, our community and the family atmosphere down here. So hopefully sooner than later, we can get back to that. Like I mentioned, the safety, of course, is the most important thing. And we got to make sure that we get all that stuff squared away. But it's been different for sure. I didn't even know what Zoom was before this.
Same here. Hey, we bought stock in Zoom, Coach. We would be rich right now.
Right? So somebody might need to look into that, man. Who who's buying stock? Who's buying Zoom stock before the pandemic hit? Somebody might need to look into that, man.
Yes, indeed. Hey, last one for you, buddy. What was your quarantine hobby? Mine was playing the guitar, trying to get better at that. So what was your quarantine hobby?
Shoot, man. You know, it was funny, man. I went through so many different phases in quarantine. You know, I was cooking, then I was working out more, then I was watching. You know, I don't know, man. I would probably have to say cooking. I was doing a lot of cooking. I'm by no means a connoisseur in the kitchen, but you know, I'm certainly getting better. I'm certainly getting better. You know, so you know, trying to. I like cooking breakfast. I got my dinner, so I think I can now I can really cook a good steak how you want it. You know, I can see. You know, my seasoning still needs work, but you know, I'm getting better. I'm getting
YouTube,
better. So
man. I use YouTube to learn how to cook. I use YouTube.
They say YouTube is the way to go. I'm kind of just trial and error type. I should probably do that. I need to get on YouTube and check it out. So,
hey, Coach, I'll be real with you. I gotta be a book called Cooking for Dummies. I'm a dummy at cooking. So I gotta be cooking like dummies. I got that book,
hey, man,
and I watch YouTube.
Hey, listen, you were probably a dummy when you started the guitar too. Now you're probably banging that thing, aren't you?
Yeah, I was. Hey, man, when you are a bachelor and you single, you gotta do what you gotta do, man, to survive.
I hear you, man. It's hard out here. It's hard out here when you don't got any help, man. I hear you.
Yes, indeed. Hey, Coach, I was going to catch up with you, man. Best of luck to Houston Baptist, man. Thank you for doing it on a game day. I know it's hard. Usually not something you do, but thank you for doing it for us in the Bossman. We love your program. I always support you guys in your conference, man. Thibodeau always do good to us here in Atlanta.
Always, man. Always, man. I love getting on here and chopping it up, man. Let's talk soon for sure. Appreciate y'all.
Anytime, Coach. Be good, buddy.
All right, man. See y'all.
See you now.